Well, as a huge Nine Inch Nails fan and as a record enthusiast, I've picked up a great find. This is Year Zero by Nine Inch Nails. I've been wanting this on vinyl for years and years. It only appreciates in value, and finally, recently I broke down and picked it up. So, I took a listen today, and it sounds really friggin' good. Like, the CD already has dynamics, but on the vinyl, there's even more dynamics. Since the album has such a layered sound anyway, it sounds even more layered. Something I love about Nine Inch Nails is no matter how often I listen to them, no matter how much I listen to an album, I always hear new things every time I listen to them. This album's no exception. I listened to this album on vinyl today, and I heard things that I didn't even know were there. I'll give you some examples. I think that the drums on the beginning of the end sound a lot punchier, and I think you can really notice the dynamic change near the end of the song. Then there's the drums at the beginning of In This Twilight. They sound punchy and snappy and unbelievably crisp. And then you get to the second half of The Great Destroyer. Oh, wow! Yeah, really punchy, really gritty. Like, all the gritty parts of this album sound even grittier. There's a lot of punch and there's a lot more impact. And plus, the way this album sounds, if you listen to it on good speakers, the whole world of Year Zero will creep into the room with you. And then there are the drums at the beginning of Capital G. I think the bass drum resonates a lot more than it does with the CD. And we can't forget Me I'm Not. How can we forget that? It sounds like Fight Club music. It sounds schizophrenic, just like everything else on the album. Tell you what, Trent Reznor made really good use of the left and right channels. So that's how it sounds. I think it's a massive improvement over the CD. So here's the vinyl, side 4. It has an etching of the hand from Evil Dead 2. Well, I mean, that's what it looks like. It looks like the hand from Evil Dead 2. Man, that hand was a pain in the butt in the movie. It was a pain in the butt in the Army of Darkness comics, and it was a pain in the butt in Ash vs. Evil Dead. And now, it's making its way onto Nine Inch Nails album covers. You think Bruce Campbell would have just taken care of it already, but no. And as far as the music itself, it actually sounds really good. I mean, you don't have to turn it up terribly loud, because you can still hear the difference in dynamics. Anyway, so there's the hand, and of course we have the big artwork right here. Of course you got one side, everything looks nice and peaceful, and the other side, it doesn't look so peaceful. Industrial ruin, world downfall. And you have the inner gatefold, the hand with the Bible and the hand with the machine gun. I always thought that looked really cool. And as far as the booklet, it's about the same thing as the CD, it's just a lot larger. You know, you got the lyrics, the little concept art. Same thing as the CD, really. But obviously, I think the biggest overall improvement is the sound. It was definitely worth the money. But then again, if you're a Nine Inch Nails fan, you already know that it's worth the money. I'll tell you something else about this album. It's also slightly bigger than most of my other records. See, check this out. There's like an inch or half an inch off of the other records. It's pretty big. Guess what? This album's pushed all the way in, just like the other albums, and it sticks out just like Bruce Campbell's chin. Plus, me and this album have a history together. This is actually the first Nine Inch Nails album I ever heard all the way through. The first time I ever heard Nine Inch Nails, I was 12. I was eating at the Hard Rock Cafe in Philadelphia, and the music video for Head Like a Hole came on the TV. I was like, wow, that's a cool name for a band. And I was really impressed by the way Trent was hanging off the microphone cord and spiraling at the end of the music video. So, I looked up some of their stuff, and the first song I ever heard was Burn. It was angry, it was gritty, it was raw, it was everything I was looking for in music. And just around this time, I was 12 years old, Year Zero just came out. So I saw Year Zero, I picked it up, and I listened to it, and I was disappointed. Because the album was so quiet and different compared to what I heard. I was expecting Burn, I was expecting some angry, harsh techno continuations, and I listened to this and I was like, what is this? And believe it or not, it took me quite a few years to get to like this album. But fortunately, I decided to give Nine Inch Nails a second chance, so I bought The Downward Spiral, and it gave me nightmares. And it's still one of my favorite albums of all time. I love it. And then I got to listen to all the other albums, and I grew to really enjoy those as well. And it took me a long time to appreciate this album because I prefer Nine Inch Nails when it's loud, angry, aggressive, kind of like the Broken EP. And this comparatively, it still has its loud moments, like say the beginning of the end, The Great Destroyer, Capital G. But I mean, it's a lot calmer than the earlier stuff. But this is an album that gets better as I get older. It's held up pretty well. Some fans would say that's Nine Inch Nails' most successful work. I kind of disagree though, because I mean, the sound is just unlike anything I've ever heard. I've never heard an album like this before or since it came out. And that's another thing about Nine Inch Nails. So many of his albums, I've never heard anything like them before. I mean, Pretty Hate Machine kind of sounds like a continuation of Mind and Perpetual Intercourse, but, I mean, not that that's a bad thing. And I was really excited to get this in the mail today, because the guy who sent it to me wrapped it in a bunch of plastic wrap. It must be like 10 feet of plastic wrap over here. You know, it's just like unwrapping a Christmas present, you know, so much wrapping paper. You keep unwrapping it, unwrapping it, unwrapping it, and guess what you get at the end of it? A new pair of PJs. But underneath those PJs is that thing that you've been asking your mommy for Christmas for quite a while. Oh, Mommy, can I have the new Nightmare on Elm Street collection? Please, 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 please. Oh, thanks, Mom! Well, that's kind of how it was with this album. You know, when this came out, I didn't know what to expect. This album wasn't aimed for 12-year-olds, and I was just getting into Nine Inch Nails. Maybe this isn't a good introduction album for them, but it's still a really good album. And now, I appreciate it for what it is. Thank you for watching.